On tonight's episode of Lou's Basement, we have Cole Hastings. He has a podcast, The Hastings Harvest. Cole, what would you say your podcast is based on?
So what I do with my podcast, I interview like creators, creatives, educators, business people like entrepreneurs, and I try to harvest. That's why I call it the Hastings Harvest. I try to harvest how they do their craft and like how they've achieved all the things they have, what mindsets they've developed through it, and basically the reason why I started the podcast honestly was for networking with like-minded people who are trying to do similar things as me, like be their own boss. And yeah, it's been a really good tool for me to develop social skills, to develop networking, and to develop my brand and my business as a whole too. And it's just fun. So yeah, now we're doing this after randomly meeting.
What are you when you are doing your podcast? What is it that you look for into someone that makes them interesting to you?
Definitely that they are like a creative person. I really like people who are trying to do something outside of the norm.
Yeah.
Not just go to a 9-to-5 job. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Not just go to a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and there's gonna be a lot of people that watch this. Like, you interviewed someone, but
but yeah, they don't do that, and they are basically just trying to create something of themselves, like a creative. They're pursuing a creative passion. Maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be like an entrepreneur, but just someone who's doing something that the 99% aren't doing.
Yeah, I know. Someone that wants to do something different, someone that's creative, someone that thinks outside of the box. Mm-hmm. With social media, I feel like it gives a lot of people the opportunity to be able to show their creative ability. Where when I was younger, we didn't really have that chance to do that. I did comedy when I was 19. I started doing comedy, and I was able to put some type of passion behind that and put some type of whatever creativeness I had into that. But when I was younger, I was doing things, drawing sneakers, sending them to Nike, writing letters to actors I used to do. And that was just my way of getting any of my ideas out there. There wasn't any way. And now I have this platform, Lou's Basement, which coincidentally, how you call yours, Hastings Harvest, because you're harvesting ideas. I actually call this Lou's Basement because it's in Lou's basement.
Yeah, of course. And I kind of just knew once we first started talking, and like I don't even remember what the first conversation we had or how I ended up on your porch like talking to you.
I think I said hi.
Yeah,
you just said hi.
But the first time we talked, you came up to me because I was vlogging myself with my camera. You were like, "What are you doing with that?" And I'm like, "I have a YouTube channel." And you're like, "Oh, I'm trying to do something on YouTube. I have a podcast." And then I guess we set something up to just like chill on your porch. But since then, since like the first time we actually had a real conversation, I just knew like you were someone who is trying to do like their own thing and is a creative person.
My life since I was 19 years old, 18 years old, I always had a 9-to-5 job, and I'm unless some way in some type of aspect of hopefully creativity or something, I hope one day that I love my job. I'm blessed to have my job. It supports my daughter. It supports me. It bought me a house. I have everything I want and half of everything I need and half of what I want. But I would like to do something creative with my the getting up and working for someone else. Even though how blessed I am to have what I have, I always felt like I wanted to do something with my creativeness and whatever it is, or do something to help kids or do something in that aspect. I want to change something in the world, whether I don't know what it is, or but that's just the way I think, and I'm sure that's what you like to hear on your podcast, and that's how you believe. Is that
Right.
close?
Yeah. No, I like a huge motivator for me to do what I do. The thing that keeps me going is the fact that I'm bringing value to people in a unique way.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that.
Along with your podcast, is there anything else you do on the side, or?
Okay, so I have like a few different sources of income right now. The main one is really freelance video editing.
Okay.
So I edit for brands, businesses, online, like whether this is YouTube. I also work for the local blog Buffalo Rising. I make video pieces for
really?
them.
Okay.
Yeah. And then apart from those like freelance video editing, I also have my own brand, which is just Cole Hastings. Sometimes I'm referred to by my Instagram handle, which is Seasoned
Okay.
Tofu. A lot of people know me by that.
Okay.
And basically my brand's based around fitness and like self-help. I do self-help and fitness videos on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I'm posting like every other day on Instagram pretty much. And the way that I make money through my brand, a little bit off of YouTube ad revenue, but that's basically nothing. And also, like coaching I do online. So I have a website, which is seasontofu.com.
Yeah.
And I do like one-on-one coaching. I do personalized vegan meal plans and like personalized workout plans.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's based around, the majority of it is based around helping people get muscular or lose fat on a plant-based diet.
What sport do you coach?
It's just lifting weights.
With what you're doing and the videography, the podcast, you deal a lot with social media.
Right.
Social media has a lot of ups and downs that I see. You know,
Definitely.
I love the ups from it, but the downs sometimes, really bother me. But not bother me as far as it's not changing any mindset of my mind. It's not making me up or down. But some of the stuff I see on there, I don't know why it has to be on there. And starting to do this a little bit, or the little side thing that, just that, sometimes it's hard to read through and see opinions of people, because I think it could change my opinion on them in a way, and I don't want that to ever happen, because I look at a gray area.
Yeah, and working on social media, that being like my primary job, I spend so much time on social media. It really does take a toll on my mental energy. Like I told you yesterday when I saw you outside, that I went to my buddy's cabin in like Belfast, New York. There was no service. This was the first time I had not been on social media for a whole day, and I don't know how long. Like I'm just always putting out content, and because of that, it means that it's hard not to consume the content too, because I'm always on the platform. I try not to. I try not to just scroll mindlessly. I try to be purposeful with it, but it's just hard. It's an addiction. And it like social media, working on it can be really detrimental to my mental health, because I see, because a lot of it, especially Instagram, is fake, is filtered, and is just a small lens of someone's actual life, and like the perfect moments of their life. And I'm constantly comparing myself to the people I see on there, and a lot of my explore page is just like jacked dudes, fit girls, and I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, damn, I'm not even big. Like I'm not even muscular. And it's very, very hard not to do that. So when I went to my friend's cabin yesterday, I felt so good being off of social media, and like it just goes to show that you definitely need to take breaks from it, or just limit your usage of it. With me, again, it's hard. So but I really do enjoy social media. Like, I love content creation. Like, that's really my passion. It's so much fun to do. It's so much fun to create the stuff.
Yeah.
It's just consuming it. Too much of it can be.
And when I say it could make me look at someone differently. I mean, I have my opinions too on the show, or that I've put on there. So I'm not saying it like my opinion. I think my opinion's better than anybody else's, but I just look at it like everything doesn't have to be so up or down. There's a middle ground to everything. There's a gray area to everything. You know, you don't have to be the worst person in the world. People don't have to put people out there. People don't have to try to hurt a business. So there's horrible restaurants that we all go to. There's horrible service or servers or whatever that I've come across where I wouldn't have, if that person got fired from that job. I hate to say this, but they might not. They might be bringing down that business because of their service. I like to see people, small business owners. I like to see them win, but I would never put a business out there to be brought down because one of their workers. I worked in restaurants for 15 to 20 years, bartending, serving, and I really took pride into helping people out and treating people the way I would want to be treated. And when online social media is kind of it could be construed like you're serving, people are serving other people with their opinions. And when the one time that someone has a bad opinion or someone says something wrong or in their personal life something goes on and there's an accusation on somebody or someone doesn't like how someone's putting someone else out there and they try to stick up for them and everyone's business is not fully out there yet, but they're ready to jump on that person. They're going for their throat all the time. And those people that are going for those people's throats, they have their own personal demons. And just because we don't know their personal demons, I wouldn't throw them out there. So why are they working so hard to try to, like, what do they want to do when they destroy people? Do they want that person to be depressed? Do they want that person to kill themselves? Like, what do they want when they're trying to destroy people? I don't understand that. I can never want to hurt someone personally like that.
Right. Yeah, no, it's...
especially if I don't know the facts of something,
right.
On any type of situation.
That's a great point. I think what the root of all, like, criticizing someone or making fun of someone is that somebody has a problem with themselves. Like, the way you treat others is the way you're going to treat yourself.
Without question.
So, I mean, that's really it. And social media has given regular people the ability to amplify their voice so easily and quickly that something can spread so much easier now, and that's created cancel culture. I don't know if you know what that is. Like, people are getting canceled online, these big social media stars, for like things they've done in the past. People are finding these old sources of them and canceling them. And while the stuff that they did, like most of these people, it was very wrong. But while that's all true, there's no reason that these people haven't grown since then and haven't like learned a lesson since then.
Without question.
So
that's what life is about: learning and not judging, learning and not judging, learning and not judging.
And the whole thing with cancel culture is like the person's canceled forever. Like their whole reputation, their whole online presence is just ruined because of one mistake they made.
Part of that cancel culture is, like you said, that's in that person also. That person who's reacting like that and trying to hurt that other person, they've probably been hurt also in some way in their life. Then they're not afraid to do that to somebody else. Instead of learning through life that I've been hurt, I don't want to hurt anybody else. There's what could you have to really do a lot for me not to care about you as a human being. You know, you have to really, not even me as much as like my family or my kids. Like a word does not bother. Like a word is not gonna really. If you saw me walking down the street, you said, "Hey, you bitch!" Like I don't. You called me. Like who cares what your word? Your word means nothing to me. It's not affecting my life at all. But if my sister was walking down the street and you said, "Hey, you bitch," now I have to, as a man, I have to stick up for my sister.
Right.
But your word is like what? Why do I even? Your opinion of me means nothing. You know, my daughter's opinion means something to me. You know, my kid's opinion, both of them. You know, those people, you know, when you put down somebody, all of a sudden, you know, and you all of a sudden you have hate for someone because they like Biden or they like Trump or they, I mean, let's listen to their opinions on why they like something. You know, I know I'm going off the subject of the cancel culture, but we're canceling people in that culture. We're kind of canceling people out for their beliefs on anything too. I don't care about any of them. I don't like either of them. But I mean, I'm not going to judge. If you tell me that you like Trump, sit down and tell me why you like Trump. Or, you know, or if you like Biden, sit down and tell me why you like Biden. I'm not going to hate you either way. I just want to know why. I'm not. I could listen to you and not care. You know, I'd be like this. I can't believe this person likes this, but I still want to know why you like it. Tell me. I'm interested. Right. You know, that's what a part of your Hastings harvest. You know, that's part of. You know, you kind of want to find that interesting part of that person, regardless of what they're interested in, right?
Right. Yeah. And that really reinforces, or I guess you're really talking about being open-minded.
Yeah.
Is what it is. It's not. It's trying to get the full scope of the situation and be open to different opinions and viewpoints, which is, again, a really important thing that a lot of people don't have. They live in their own belief system and they think that whatever they think is right is the universal right. And I mean, not a 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 times that's not the case. A lot of the time, like, I understand that a lot of my daily actions, the language I use is based upon the belief system I have, and I take in the opinions of others, I take in information of others, and my belief system is a culmination of everything I've learned over the years, basically, and I've dropped things from it, I've added things to it, and I'm trying to make it to, you know, the most optimal one for my life. Is it going to be the most optimal thing for everyone's life?
Yeah.
No. But that's the thing. Like, you have to understand that people come up from completely different places, and that's what I say about people who support Trump. Is, you know, I was driving through this very small town on the way to my friend's cabin out in the middle of nowhere, and there's like so many Trump signs, like Confederate flags, and I was just thinking to myself, these people, this is all they know. They've lived here their whole lives. They've never been to, like, they rarely get out to the city. Maybe they've never even been to a city. They don't, there's probably no diversity within that town. It's like, it's all they know.
And that's sad.
It's extremely sad.
And it's not sad because they're Trump supporters. It's sad because that's all they know.
Right.
You know, that person with the Confederate flag. I mean, come on. Like, what world are we living in? It's you know, it's 2020.
Right.
I mean, if you know what that represents, you know, then you just don't have to throw that out there that's what your belief is. Let me tell you something. Most of those people, it's not even really their belief. They're just, like you're saying, they're so ignorant they're so ignorant to what they're so ignorant because they didn't learn, and that's the sad part for them, you know, because they're shutting down a whole nother part of their life. You know, part of it is about being open-minded, you know, part of it is about judging, part of it is about learning, you know, going back to the social media, what we were talking about a couple minutes ago. But, you know, I look at it as, it's not always just about the gray area either. It's also, you know, I seen a video at Costco. I know everyone saw the one with the guy going nuts in it, but there was a video of the guy asking the lady, "Why don't you have your mask on?" You know, and he was videotaping her, asking her, "Why don't you have your mask on?" And she's going, you know, well, what do you know, whatever. They're going back and forth. They're both assholes to me. Like the guy who is getting the video out, his phone and going like this, "Where's your mask?" And the lady for not just putting on the mask to go into the store. I mean, they're the same people. They're work that hard to make that point in something else. You know.
So the person you're saying the person recording is the same person
I'm saying it's the same person inside as the lady. The man recording going, "Where is your mask? Hey lady, where's your mask?" with his phone out waiting for a reaction to blast her. The lady is the same person of saying, "I don't need to wear the mask." Like,
I feel like that could be some of it, but also people want to do that to raise awareness of like what's really going on. And that's what I feel like that's what social media, like the good part about social media is how much it has raised awareness to all the fucked up things that are happening in this country, is because we are able to film it now. It's like there's some quote. It's something along the lines of this. It's like things aren't getting worse; they're getting filmed now.
Okay, but let me go. But that person needs to lose their job, you know, because they were caught on tape having that argument. That person that's taping them is just as, I mean, get a lot, like, go along and go shopping with your kids or your family or whatever. Get your whatever your window cleaner from the store, or you know whatever you have to get from the store, and get out of the store. What are you worried? I'm never worried about what anyone else is doing. I'm never watching somebody and saying, "Well, they're not doing this." That's like a little bitch. You know, to be looking and finding what someone else is doing, and if it's not I know I could say if it's not affecting my life, and someone say, "Well, if you got corona from them and not wearing their mask," okay, well, yeah, you're right. But I'm wearing my mask, okay, and hopefully that does enough. But I'm not going to go and tell people what they need to do. Mm-hmm. You know, I can never live my life unless you're affecting my life directly. I can't watch out. So now that person loses their job, you know, now that person is vilified on social media all over. That lady with the dog walking lady who was being rude to that black guy. That was so stupid of her. That was disgusting of her. Who talks like that? What a low life that lady is. What we were talking about earlier of someone who needs to learn, of someone who, but she doesn't even know. I don't want her to go kill herself. I don't want her to die or lose her job or go to jail. I want her to learn how to be a better human. She doesn't have those tools that you do to want to learn and better herself.
Well,
but I don't think she should die or commit suicide for that.
The thing is about that, though, is there's something to be said about the people that record those types of things, but I feel like if they finally get caught for what they did, that's like this lady has probably done that way more than one time. Okay. And now that she's finally been caught on camera and she's losing, maybe she lost her job, she's losing friends because of it. Maybe that's what it takes for her to realize.
Maybe, yeah, no, you're right.
Okay, it's time to.
You're right.
It's time to learn, you know.
But I 100% agree. That's a good point. Actually, you know, that is a really good point. I like to discuss social media because social media is such a big part of our life. You know, and everyone has a different view on it. Mm-hmm. And everyone has a different way that they use it, you know, and you know, you said earlier, you're living a different life on there. You know, you're showing, you know, everyone is a dork on Tuesday night when they're sitting by themselves at 9:00. You know, we're all dorks. Right. You know what I mean? You're not the coolest person in St. Thomas. You know, on every single day.
Right.
You know what I mean? With the beautiful dress on, or you know, and I always think if you enjoy your boyfriend or your girlfriend's company that much, or your wife or your husband's company that much, then why are you sitting there taking pictures, worrying on if someone likes your picture? If I'm dating someone, I'm not judging anyone for doing it, like, because I would be the same person as me saying, but I don't need to like show you my fun of what I'm doing. I don't need to show you every single time I'm taking my kid out. I take my kid out all the time. I took my stepdaughter out all the time. I don't need to show you that. I want you to know me personally and think if I'm a good father or not. I don't want you to see from pictures and then you say he's a good father because I just don't need that. Like if it's family time, if it really is family time, then I don't have time to take pictures. It's time to spend time with my babies. You know,
Right.
that's how I look at life.
A lot of a lot more of people's lives are on social media now, and I feel like that's been counterproductive when it comes to like trust issues. I feel like that develops more trust issues because it's like if you're not posting on social media and you said you're going somewhere, where are you really? And that's like a big thing at
That
least with
is?
people my age. Like if
Oh my
if
gosh.
someone like if a girl says they're going out that night and the boyfriend's like, okay, have fun, and he doesn't see any like snap stories or like an Instagram story or something. It's like,
Dude, I can.
it's like,
Whoa.
and I'm not that. I was never that bad, but I definitely had really bad trust issues in my last relationship, and I mean, what made it worse is the fact that I could see, like, where my girlfriend was at
Yeah.
all times, pretty much. And
Yeah.
when I could, and when I couldn't, like, if her location was off for some reason or something, I would like freak out. I'd be like, "Yo, where are you?" And that, I mean,
Wow,
like that.
come on,
But
really? I'm not
that's
judging. I'm not saying
no,
that. I
you
didn't know
can
people
judge
look
me
at
all
that.
you want for that because it
No,
was
I'm
fucked
not.
up, and
No,
like
no.
I was definitely a worse person back then. Definitely toxic to be, a little toxic to be in a relationship with, because of my trust issues that have developed over like my whole life due to
Yeah.
what I've like experienced in my life.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it is because of that, and less because of social media. But it just makes it easier for people to,
So
I feel like, worry about other people.
so in okay, first of all, I'm definitely not cool enough to date like a 25 to 28-year-old because I can't do any of that stuff. Like if she needed me to put something where I was at, I don't even I can't I won't be able to do that. So any 25-year-old or to 28-year-olds that like me out there, I don't think it's gonna work if I have to do all that. Okay, maybe like if I so I
Not
gotta
all girls
okay, cool.
are
All right,
like
good.
that.
All right, I know I'm just messing. But going back to I honestly, and this is I never even looked at any girl I was ever dating, but from a different generation as you. I never even look on their pages. Like I don't
Right.
really even think of that.
Right.
Everything that we have a discussion about when we're with each other, I feel like that's enough of a discussion to where now I got to look at what you feel like on social media. Just tell me when we're talking eating dinner, or talk to me about it when we're eating lunch.
That's
You know,
healthy. That's
yeah.
really healthy.
I mean, to have that, I don't need them to take pictures of us when we're out. I mean, I'm having a good time if I'm
Right.
out with someone. If I'm dating someone, I'm having a good time. If I'm just seeing someone, I'm having a good time. I'm not worried about what. I would never. If a woman told me she's going here, I'm just thinking she's going there. I know that I've dated women that said I'm going here, and they most likely weren't going there, but it doesn't even make a difference to me. It was just a learning experience to me.
Right.
All those things of past relationships that I had that were bad parts of past relationships, I try to take the learning experience off of all of them. What can I gain out of it? What can I gain out of a bad friendship that I had with someone where they ended up not being a good friend? What positive could I gain out of any negative situation? I try to live like that. That doesn't mean I always could do that, but I try to live like that, because
Always.
I learn I'm out there to have the best 40 years of my life with someone. If I meet if I already did, or if I meet the right person, I'm out to have the best 40 years, not the best 15 years. I don't want to just say I was married to get married and get married 3 times, or no judgment, anything, just for my own personal self. I want to meet someone to have the best 40 years. I want my best friend, and if
Right.
and I would never be looking on my best friend's page to see if they were really out wherever they were telling me that they were out, or they wouldn't be my best friend, is the way I look at it.
Right. Yeah, you just trust. Like everything you said revolves around trusting.
Yeah.
And like blindly trusting the other person. Like you just, like whether you know or not, you trust them.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's the same with bad situations that happen to you.
yeah.
When you're always looking or realizing that there is a positive with every bad situation, it's like trusting that it's working out in your favor. And I believe that there is some, like, I don't know if you want to call it God,
I do,
Shiva,
but you could
whatever.
call it
Like,
whatever you
yeah,
want.
right.
I want to call it God. Yeah.
There's some universal intelligence that works in a way to develop and evolve everything as a whole positively. So what subjectively seems bad to you is is good for the greater whole. So, like, for example, this pandemic and everything that's going on in the world right now. People like see the pandemic as a very negative situation, but what it is showing us is that the way we are eating, maybe, because it did develop from like a Chinese market, like with a bad some type of animal. The way we are eating, the way we are treating each other, the way that the U.S. government is set up, capitalism, the police, all of this, the universe is telling us, yo, things need to change, or this is what happens if these terrible things are happening.
Yeah, oh, I agree
this
with
is
you
what's
100%.
this is how it is going to be. It's going to be hell if things don't
Yeah.
change now, and it gets to the breaking point.
Yeah.
This is 2020 is the breaking point for
Yeah.
all of this,
Yeah.
and I think people are finally starting to wake up and realize
You think so?
how fucked up everything is.
I don't know. I wish that they. I
Well,
agree.
I wish too, and maybe it won't be, but I think this is a big wake up call for a lot of people. Is like just the way our government works, the way capitalism works, how the rich have made so much money during the pandemic, and I don't know how much of our country is unemployed.
Mm-hmm.
The rich are getting way richer during this, and everyone else is suffering immensely, and that shows a terrible hole in the way things are the system of the United States as a whole.
I just think in a whole. I think as a whole, if you didn't better yourself in these last 5 months, or learn something about yourself, or learn something to be better at something, or improve something, or try something new. You had a lot of we had a lot of time to think as people to what are we supposed to do. What are we gonna do? And if you're just not not bettering a relationship with your wife or your girlfriend, or whatever your boyfriend, or whatever the case may be, or you can't create something new. When are you gonna ever do it then? I'm not saying that like I did something big, or I might not have, in someone else's eyes, I might not have created anything or done anything different. But I know myself. I know I learned a lot about myself in these last 5 months. I learned a lot about myself in these last 5 years. And I hope that 5 years from now I learn a lot more of about myself. I don't want to need a pandemic to learn that much bunched up in this little hole. That you had, like we were all forced to learn something about ourselves in these 5 months. But the way what you said, I believe. I mean, like you said, you could believe whatever you want to believe. I choose to believe in God. You could choose. Anybody could choose to, wherever they want to put their faith towards. I don't judge anyone on any of that. I choose to believe that it's God trying to send us a message. It just seems like too many things are happening at one time. I feel like part of that message is life is short. I feel like part of that message is be kind to each other, and have some respect for each other, and realize what you have while you have it, Since I was a kid, I would say maybe 5th grade, 6th grade, I always prayed every day when I went to sleep to make sure that I appreciate everything I have while I have it. Because I don't want to be someone that loses something and I didn't realize, while I had it, because I won't be able to take that. I won't be able to take that. Like, not I can't. I could deal with things well, but I can't deal with looking back at something and not seeing it for what it was in the moment. You know, so
So you do see everything for what it is in the moment. Is what
no,
you're
I say I
saying?
try to. Oh no,
You
I
try-
can't. I'm not
okay,
perfect.
right,
No,
right.
I try
Yeah,
to. I
that's a
pray to
really-
be able to do that.
That's a really tough thing for me. Is like I have a very tough time letting go of my past and my like specifically my past mistakes with I mean like the relationship thing like that happened at the start of the pandemic. So it hasn't really been that long of a time, and it's just really hard for me to let go of all of it. Like it was years I was with this girl, and I kind of like I feel like she broke up with me. I feel like I have responsibility to claim for it not working out. Like I did a lot of things wrong. I realized that. I and I know never to make the mistakes again. And the
Moving
reason that
forward.
it happened
Yeah.
is because I needed to learn those things. If I would have stayed in the position I was a very insecure, toxic person by the end, like by the first few months of 2020. I was like not my optimal self in the slightest. And the breakup of the pandemic, I had to sit alone in my house. No, I couldn't see my friends, and it really just forced me to reflect on everything that has been building up for maybe, I don't know, the past few months of me being this person where it got to the point where my ex lost so much attraction for me that she wanted to break up with me. So I had to think about why did that happen? Yes, teach me lessons, but like learning from it and changing literally all of those things about me. And I'm getting there, but I want it to be to the point where my personality, the way I carry myself, is almost unrecognizable from the start of March. I have been doing, like you said, literally nothing but working on my business, my brand. That is literally all I do.
This is not
now.
a call out for that girl to come back, is it?
No.
Okay.
No.
It's not like
Shit,
a
I
sell-
didn't even think about that.
This is not like a selling point for that girl to come
no.
back, right? I don't know.
No.
I'm only joking. Can I tell you something about? Can I tell you something?
Yeah, sure.
You know, when. No, I'm not saying that you went. I don't know. Did you go to a dark place after this breakup? Did you, in your mentally? Did you?
I was very
You know?
depressed for a while.
Yeah.
I mean,
Which you should.
I
have been,
literally.
which is normal.
I mean, the first maybe month or so,
Let me tell you
I
something.
cried not damn near every day.
I've been in the fetal position crying over women, over breakups. I mean, literally, like I've been into some bad places
Right.
in my brain. Not like bad places as far as like sad, and as far as I never was like someone I'm gonna go drink because I have a problem on my mind. I was
Right.
never like that. I was because
Right.
it was only gonna make it worse. Like I never
too.
thought like, oh, I better go out and get fucked up because I have a problem on my
Right.
mind. I just but I definitely would. It would get me down. It would really like put me in a bad place. It would. But a lot of that was based on my pride. A lot of that, even if I was, some of the relationships that were in that were big relationships, I was the one that ended it. Not that that means anything, but I was the one that ended it. But even when you end something, sometimes that's more of a fight to not go back, because now you're thinking like, oh, could I have made it work, or wait,
Right.
but I am kind of. Should I call her now?
Right.
It's 1:00 in the morning, and I had a couple drinks. Maybe I'll just and you make those mistakes, and then or the person calls you sometimes at 1:00 in the morning, and then you make that mistake again, and it was a couple years ago. I was sitting on a few years ago. I was sitting on my porch, and I was having a beer, and I was just thinking, and nice summer night, I mean, and I looked back at growing up, and my father was an amazing father, okay, amazing person. He went through a lot in his life, and So I think my dad needed the attention from that, from women that it helped him out. It built him, built him up,
Mm-hmm.
But when things would go awry with those situations and those relationships, my dad would be a different father to us. We would see it, and that man that could work on a car and work on a house, to see him, down to nothing in his mind, you know, like, I'm not saying I lost respect, but that I definitely didn't lose respect for my dad. I'm just saying it hurt me to see my dad like that, and it didn't teach me anything on how to be a man during relationships.
Right.
It didn't teach me how to be strong and, hey, listen, that's part of life. Like, I didn't get that from my dad. Unfortunately, I didn't get that from my dad. I had a couple older guys that were like I talked to during life, on life experiences,
Right.
and they would be like, who cares? Blah blah blah.
Right.
And it's hard to just like say who cares. But when I had that day on the porch, I said I need to learn from what my dad didn't know.
Right. Yeah.
If I'm a smart enough, if I really want to learn, why can't I learn from that's part of my father being my father. Teaching me things is from his mistakes. So I said I will never let anyone control my happiness. I never want anyone else to control my happiness. Now, if I'm one day get married, or I'm in a relationship now, or whether the case, and we break up, could I be sad? Yeah, but I'm not letting you not let me eat.
Right.
I'm not gonna not eat from that. I might shed a tear, but I'm not gonna I'm never gonna change who I am around my daughter. Like, I'm never gonna be less of a father, give my daughter less attention, or my kids less attention from, because of something that happened with somebody. Because I will never let like I said earlier, I don't want to ever let anyone else dictate my happiness. And just like I said earlier, that guy calling you a bitch across the street, so you're gonna make me go, for what? Because you call me, like, who cares? I'm letting you dictate my happiness from a word? No, I can't let you do that. Controlling my pride was the biggest thing. Anytime I ever did anything for my pride, I got in trouble. Anytime I let my pride and made the right decision, which I'm not always gonna make the right decision with my pride, but at least it's in the back of my head. Whenever I tried to fight for my pride, in any sense of the word, a fight for my pride, I got in trouble. That's not the same thing as someone's touching you, or and then you have to do something, or someone is really disrespectful to someone in your family. I don't mean it like that. I don't even mean it in a tough guy way. I just mean it in your pride. Like, it's your pride could get you in a lot of trouble, and sometimes you break up with someone and you look back at the relationship and you're like, this wasn't going to work anyway. And the only thing that's hurting you is your pride of it.
Yeah, no, it's the one thing I've really realized about that past relationship is how I think about it now is an illusion. It's like my brain only thinks about the good parts and like everything that worked.
Yes,
and not the reasons why
it didn't work.
It didn't work.
Yes,
like we had our differences. Like it just and it's like the same thing with trust and how I trust every negative thing that happens to me. It always teaches me a lesson. It always makes me a better person. And if that person was truly meant to be in my life, they would be. It's as simple as that. And I have gotten to the point in my life where I'm no longer forcing anything. I'm not going to force anything that isn't meant to be in my life. I'm not going to force someone to stay in my life who doesn't really want to be. I'm not going to force a situation. I'm just going to let whatever happens to me happen. And I wanted to bring something up about social media. And the thing with your father is, I never really had a father figure to teach me life lessons. Like, my dad was never like that for me.
My dad taught me life lessons, but he didn't teach me how to handle women, because I don't think he had those tools to be able to do it himself.
And
that was hard. That was tough. That was a big part of being a man. You know what I mean?
No, 100%. And that's.
But he taught me life lessons. He was good about them. Like, I was never. I don't need to say something what I did or what I didn't do to make someone feel like I'm. a lot of things I didn't do was because he taught me those lessons really well, you know, and I try to do that with my kids, or, you know, I try to say something and get it to them for the point.
The great thing about social media is like because I didn't have that father figure to teach me, really deep life lessons, especially with relationships. Because I mean, with the same thing with your father, like he hasn't had the best relationship with my mom, but they are still together. It's like you wouldn't have been able to figure this out unless you really like searched for it in real life, by finding like maybe coincidentally or maybe like really taking a lot of time to find a father figure in your life and just like try to figure that, like try to attract that into your life. But now with social media, YouTube, stuff like that, like that's where I've learned a lot of things about relationships, about what it means to be a man and masculinity. Because I mean, guys these days are completely emasculated because of porn, because of like, you know, people's addiction to all that stuff in social media, and like how it kind of like puts men down, and it teaches them to be more emotional and like to be less purposeful. And these are all like very
Can I say something about, you know, what is, and this is a good point. This is something, you know, I mean, I what is a man when we say what is a real man? You know, my father was, he could build you a house, he could fix your car. He was an amazing provider, you know. He didn't always handle every thing in his life, you know, perfect. You know, he didn't handle it without reacting so much, you know, and he had cheated on my mother several times. So my dad had his, but then my dad would, you know, he saved 2 kids' lives. You know, he saved one kid from drowning, who was drowning him, and he saved a little girl at the car shop that I said earlier that he, with his best friend that was a black man. You know, he saved his 3-year-old granddaughter, I think, from a pit bull. The pit bull was running after her, and he jumped in front. He saw it out of the corner of his eye. He ran, jumped in front of the girl, and let the dog chew on his arm. You know, so some of his moments were not responsible as a man. You know, putting us kids what they went through, because whatever, my mother's going to be upset. Obviously, we're going to be upset. You know, we went through a long time as kids. We went through some like dark places in our mind, you know, as kids, and hearing and having my parents go to war on the phone, pressing play an answer machine, the stuff that we heard on our, and then it was like go do your homework. Well, I can't just go do my homework after you saying you want to kill her and her brothers, and you saying that you want to, and your uncle say you want to kill her, or you know what I mean. And it wasn't even bad. They didn't even know what they were doing. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't nothing. I have an amazing family. You know, they're amazing people, but it's hard to go to school and then say go do your homework after seeing wars. I mean, I've seen wars at my house, and someone else went through way more than I did, you know, and they got through it. But I can't. You can never judge on what is more important. You know what someone else went through, if it's more of a toll on you than, you know what I mean, than what you went through. You know, I had a friend that went through. You know, he lost a lot when he was a kid. I mean, people passing away. You know, he went through a lot, and he got through it. So I don't want to say what my story is, but I mean, I had moments seeing my dad walk through school in first, second grade. You know, talking to me about, you know, like going to talk to my principal about his issues. You know, or being in school, and they'd have to take me out of school because I was too worried about my dad killing himself. I mean, where did that come from? You know, imagine being in first and second grade. I have nothing to, I'm not even thinking about my schoolwork. I'm thinking about my dad killing himself in first, second grade. You know, that was a lot. That's a lot on a first or second grader's mind. You know, so going back to when I said what I would be going through, I don't ever want to show my daughter that. My job is to make my daughter's life go like this. So if I wish I could have had the ability to handle breakups or relationship at your age, from what I am now, I was never. I'm not a guy. I never was driving by no woman's house that we broke up. I never was like calling someone. I just that wasn't my thing. I was never gonna do that. I would just take it. You know what I mean? If a girl had cheated on me, I would just take it and then, whatever. That's like I would be in my own thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
But moving forward from when I was younger, I'll never let that dictate my happiness again. Is what it's all wrapped up to. And seeing it as a kid, how it affected my life, I would never ever put my kid, let my kid do that. But my dad didn't know that he was doing that. You know what I mean? Obviously, he was he was an amazing provider, a great father, he saved, like I said, those two. He has an article, 3 people. There was an article when he drove a bus. I have it upstairs from the newspaper about how he saved a pregnant woman's. Like he was. See, here's the thing. He was such a considerate person and saw that you needed to hurry up and run and open that door for the handicapped lady. He needed to hurry up. He saw it before you saw it.
Right.
But then someone else could judge him. How could he cheat on his wife like that? We all have our pluses in some way, and we all have our negativities in some way in life. Mm-hmm. He knew how to care for other people, but maybe he didn't know how to care for himself.
Right.
And that's why I was thinking of him in 1st, 2nd grade, thinking, killing himself or doing something bad to himself. But, Cole, I think that we could go on a lot far, along with the social media. I definitely, next episode, I want to get into how you're a vegan, and I want to see if that derives from anything that in your past and how that has benefited you moving forward. Right. And thank you for coming out tonight, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a good time. It's been a long time coming. We've been trying to do this for a while.
Please follow Cole. It's the Hastings Harvest. Where are you at?
Yeah.
Where are you at?
So the podcast is pretty much on all platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can just look up the Hastings Harvest and you'll find it. And I'm also on Instagram at seasoned_tofu. YouTube is just Cole Hastings, and that's pretty much everywhere I'm at right now.
Yeah, and for me, please like and subscribe at Lou's Basement on YouTube. I'm Lou's Basement Podcast. Lou's Basement Podcast on YouTube. Lou's Basement Podcast on Instagram. Louis Carey or Lou's Basement Podcast on Facebook. And I'm just Louis Carey on MySpace. So, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
All right.